G'day, I'm Andrew Marshall with the Northern Australia Climate Program at the University of Southern Queensland, and this is a short summary of the Bureau of Meteorology's climate outlook for the Northern Territory for the weeks and months ahead, issued on the 24th of October 2024. We'll take a look at the rainfall outlooks to begin with, starting with the outlook scenarios, and this is the rainfall totals that have a 75% chance of occurring for your region. But looking ahead to the 3 months from November to January, as we move into the wet season for Northern Australia, we're seeing a 75% chance of around 50 to 100 millimetres or so for southern parts of the territory, increasing as we head north up to 600 millimetres or more around the Darwin region. If you'd like to drill a little deeper into the forecast, you can use this magnifying glass feature here, where you can specify a location and a little box appears which breaks the forecast down into the chance of different rainfall amounts occurring. And this will give you an idea of how conditions are likely to be compared to the historical median. Just ask your local climate mate to go through this with you in more detail. Now, taking a quick look at the Bureau's northern rainfall totals since the 1st of September, and areas in green indicate where more than 50 millimetres of rain has fallen. And this is considered to be about the amount of rainfall required to stimulate plant growth. Now let's look at the temperatures, and the differences from average for maximum temperature here show close to average conditions for much of the territory for the week of the 29th of October to the 4th of November. For the following week, from the 5th to the 11th, we are expecting warmer than average conditions across the territory. And here the average is calculated over the 1981 to 2018 period for this time of year. For minimum temperatures, we are looking at warmer than average conditions over the next 2 weeks. Now, looking at the chance of extremes map for the 3 months from November to January, we're seeing an elevated chance of unusually warm days and nights across the state. And by unusually warm, we mean the highest 20% of historical temperature records for this time of year based on the 1981 to 2018 period. So these long-range forecasts are influenced by several climate factors. Let's have a look at the latest climate driver update from the Bureau here. So the El Nino Southern Oscillation is currently neutral, with 2 of the 7 climate models that the Bureau surveys suggesting the possibility of La Nina conditions in December and January. And the remaining 5 models are in the neutral range. If a La Nina does develop, it is likely to be relatively weak and short-lived. And remember that signs of La Nina are most relevant to the climate of the tropical Pacific region, and that the long-range forecasts for Australian rainfall and temperature provide better guidance for local climate. Now, the Indian Ocean Dipole, or the IOD, is neutral, and most climate models suggest the IOD is likely to remain neutral, but slightly negative for the rest of the year. Also keep in mind that IOD forecast skill is typically low at this time of year, beyond about 2 months ahead. As for our other climate drivers, a strong pulse of the Madden-Julian Oscillation, or the MJO, has developed over the maritime continent to the north of Australia. And it's forecast to move eastwards over the Pacific in the coming week. And now this typically influences an increase in rainfall over some parts of northern Australia, particularly the northeast at this time of year. And finally, the Southern Annular Mode, or the SAM, is forecast to be neutral over the next 2 weeks. Now, turning to the pasture growth outlook from Long Paddock here for the 3 months from October to December, we are expecting to see pasture growth returning to northern, central and eastern parts of the country in response to the expected rainfall in the months ahead. And finally, let's take a look at the Cattle Comfort Index prototype forecasts from the Northern Australia Climate Program at nacp.org.au. And these forecasts go out to about 10 days ahead and are shown at 3 hourly intervals, which you can move through using these controls under the map here. Now, index values between 30 and 35 degrees, they represent moderate stress to cattle. Values between 35 and 40 degrees represent severe stress, and values above 40 degrees are considered extreme. And we are expecting varying heat stress conditions at times over parts of Northern Australia in the days ahead. As always, for more information and updates, visit the Bureau's climate pages at bond.gov.au/climate. If you have any questions about recent conditions or the use of weather and climate forecasts, please reach out to your local climate mate. You can read more about the Northern Australia Climate Program at nacp.org.au. See you next month.